Hi guys! Today's tutorial is a hyper-realistic banana in Polychromos color pencils. I'm going to start my drawing with a quick base layer of colored pencil. I'm just mapping out where my shadows are and where my light areas are and giving a nice light coat of colored pencil on the whole piece. And then as we go along, we're going to gradually deepen up all of those tones and start to add in our details. You want to make sure you're using a nice high quality paper for your drawing. Don't use printer paper. Use a nice heavyweight paper, at least made for colored pencil, or in this case I use a Strathmore 400 Bristol paper. It can take a ton of layers. It's a smoother paper, but it lends itself really well to the Polychromos pencils. And if you use light layers and sharp colored pencils, you'll have a better end result. When you're doing a hyper-realistic drawing, it's really important to have your reference image right in front of you as you're drawing, and it's very helpful to have it either printed out to the same size as your finished drawing, or I have it on an iPad in front of me and I'm constantly looking up at it to see what I need to adjust, if I need to deepen up a shadow or lighten something up. So just really observation is about 50% of the drawing. Pay attention to patterns that things make. In this case, the banana has a texture, so pay attention to those textures and really map in your highlights and your shadows. You want to do your homework before you start drawing. By that I mean you want to sharpen all of your colored pencils, swatch them out on a separate piece of paper that I always have next to me with the color numbers written alongside of them, and have your tools handy and ready to use. My tools are an electric eraser, a kneaded eraser, a Tombow mono eraser, a pencil sharpener, and obviously everything you need to complete the drawing. Whether you're using your own photos or a royalty-free reference photo source, you want to make sure that you pick a reference photo that has really good contrast. So something that has some deep dark shadows, some bright highlights, and maybe a good shadow. This will add to the realistic nature of the finished product of the drawing. You want to continue with very light layers all throughout the drawing until your very last stages, where then you can burnish. And by burnishing I mean you continually add a little bit more pressure to the pencil to smush all of the underlying layers together and get a really smooth blend. You want to make sure you push your values. Make sure that everything that needs to be deep and dark and shadowed is deep enough and your lights are light enough. And you can use your electric eraser as a great tool to pick some of that color pencil up in areas that need to be a little bit lighter. Don't quit too soon. If you're struggling with an area, you might want to take a little break, step away from it, and then put some fresh eyes back on it when you get back to it. This sometimes helps the frustration level, and it will give you a new perspective on what you're doing, and it'll give you an idea of what you need to push, what you need to change, or just what you need to just tweak a little bit to give it that hyper-realistic look. Knowing your materials is really important. I know a lot of you like to use Prismacolor pencils. I prefer the Polychromos, which is an oil-based pencil rather than a wax pencil. I find that I can get a lot more detail and a lot smoother blend, and my drawings look a lot better over time with the oil-based pencils. So just know your materials, practice a little bit. If you have an area of texture, you can practice different techniques by using an eraser to pick out different little details. You can try a little on a separate piece of paper before you start, and this is part of your homework and being prepared to get into the drawing. So just practice a couple of little techniques and then get into the drawing, and you'll be a lot more successful as you go along. I'd be ever so grateful if you'd smash that like button, leave me a comment below. I love hearing from each and every one of you, and I do get back to everybody. And consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks so much, and happy art!